Hi everyone. So time again to find out what I thought about the book I've been reading this week, and this week it was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Now I've read this once before. It must have been about a year or so ago. Um, I'm thinking perhaps a bit longer than a year. When I first read it, I got it in like a buy one get one and a half price book deal. I'd heard some things about this book. My sister had I think she'd either just finished reading it or she'd read it a few months previously and said, give it a go. It's a really awesome book, and I was really glad that I did. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So obviously going through my books for this book challenge, I was like, I really, really like to reread Fangirl and delve back into that world again. And I'm so happy I did. I read it literally in about a day and a half. It was just I couldn't put it down. I've had such a hellish kind of week at work, so I've hardly had time to read. And so Friday after work, I thought, right, I'm going to finish early. I'm going to go home and I'm just going to read as much as I can. And I nearly finished the entire book in that one sitting, post work on Friday. So as you can tell, I absolutely loved it. So if you haven't read Fangirl, it follows a girl called Katha, or Kath as she likes to be known, and her twin sister Ren. Their names are quite unusual because when the mum and dad found out they were having a baby, they wanted to name the baby Catherine. If it was a girl, but it turned out that it was twins, so they'd split twin girls, so they split the name Katha and Rin. So Catherine. And they are both going off to college. They're going to the same college, a bit away from their dad, and they're it's all about them being at university. It mainly follows Katha, or Kath, should I say, because that's how she prefers to be called, and what's going on with her. Now, the reason why it's called Fangirl is because both Kath and Ren are big fans of Simon Snow, kind of like, obviously because they can't use Harry Potter, but Rainbow has come up with a character called Simon Snow, which is, an alternate to Harry Potter sort of thing. That same kind of fantasy world, wizards and vampires and all that kind of thing. And Kath is really great. Both of them write fan fiction, but Kath is really, really dedicated to fan fiction. She's really into, being on Tumblr and forums and all that kind of thing, writing constantly for fans, getting all of these hits and comments and such from the internet. She loves doing that. So naturally, writing is her thing. So she's studying English literature and writing and such for her degree that she's doing. And so we're following Kath as she's trying to figure out the difference between being a fan fiction writer and being a writer of her own worlds. And it's very interesting reading this book, especially from that perspective, because I've done the fan fiction thing. I being on Tumblr constantly, all that lot and everything, and it's really interesting when you do that, where your mind goes, because as Kath says in this book, her teacher gets annoyed because for one of the projects she writes her fan fiction and submits it in, and she's been getting A's on every single one of her projects and everything, and then she gets failed. She gets an F, and she can't understand why. And she said, well, you didn't make up the world. And she went, well, yes, well, it's my story. It's still my words. Like, yeah, but they're not your characters. It's not your world. You can't do that. You're stealing. And I love Kath's response. She goes, I'm not stealing. I'm borrowing. There's a difference. And it's true. When you're writing fan fiction and such, you totally feel it's your world, it's your thing, but technically it's not. You're borrowing these characters and put them in a different situation. But I love how she tries to explain it to Levi and such, the guy who the main interest of the story. I'll talk about him in a minute. How different it is, and how she can't do the making of her own world because she doesn't have the interest in it, whereas she has the interest in Simon Snow and everything because she loves the character so much. She's got that connection right there to between them and her. It's just the way it is, and she can't break through it. In the meantime, while all this is going on, while she's trying to find herself, her voice, how to write different things, different worlds and everything, she also has these situations going on where, first of all, she's having problems with her sister, in that Ren has always been quite rebellious. She very much, she likes to go out drinking and partying and stuff like this. She wants to do her own thing. And Kath hasn't had that before, so she doesn't quite know where she stands with her sister at that point. She's also got a roommate who I absolutely love. I think she's amazing. Called Regan, and Regan, she's quite bossy and she'd be quite loud. She's very much to the point. She's constantly out, so she doesn't. Kath doesn't really see her, but then after time goes on, they get to know each other and they spend more time together and realise that Regan has totally got Kath's back in every single thing. She's an absolutely wonderful character, and as there's a point in the book where Kath is talking to her because Regan once dated Levi. Again, I'll talk to him about him just a minute. They used to date, but now they've broken up, but they've remained friends. And Kath says to her, "Why did you break up?" And she went, "Oh, I cheated on him." And Kath's really surprised. She's like, "Wow," how Regan's very to the point about it. She doesn't beat around the bush, just says it. And she says, "Yeah, I make a really crap girlfriend, but I make a really good friend." And it's true because, Regan's always got Kath's back. She sticks up for her and everything. She's, pushes her to do all of these new things that she's never experienced before. And she's always there for a chat. And, and I think it's fair to say that obviously the book ends, we don't know what happens to the characters from that point on, but I think it's fair to say that if Kath and Regan remain friends, post college and everything, I think she's absolutely fabulous as Regan. And she's got a great taste in clothes as well. I really like how Rainbow describes what she's wearing and everything. And like her body shape, and that she's very seductive is Rainbow, how she writes Regan. And I think maybe it's that thing because Kath is her complete polar opposite in every possible way. She's very bold in her statements of how she dresses and how she feels about herself, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm curvaceous, deal with it. I love my body," kind of thing. And I really love that positivity about body image that Rainbow's put into this book. Even though obviously it's not an emphasis on the story or anything, but it's really great having characters with these really bold, positive feelings about themselves and everything. I think it's wonderful. And then we've got Levi. Levi is, as I said, Regan's ex. He is like the first. Yes, he is. He's the first character that that Kath meets when she gets to college. Obviously, who was family members. And he's a very interesting guy. I really like him because I love how kind of bold he is, but he also holds himself back a bit. He has these. He's very sarcastic. He comes up with all these crazy lines and such, and the way in which he talks to Kath and Regan is really great. But at the same time, he doesn't like to be the centre of attention. He very much likes to take the step back. He lets Regan be the attention in the room, and he'll chirp in a line and say to make people aware of him, but he doesn't want the complete focus on him at all. Which is, that's, it's really, he's a very interesting guy. I love the fact, he always, no matter what, has Kath's back as well. He's like Regan. He's totally loyal. And I love the fact that Rainbow describes him as being someone that if he was a dog, he would be a Labrador. Puppy, a blonde Labrador, because he's got this boundless energy and he's always want to have fun and such. And I love that. There's all of these different ways that Rainbow describes people, and it just goes, exactly, you totally understand who that character is from descriptions such as, is like a dog, like a blonde Labrador, is so lovable and cuddly and bouncy and want to have fun and all that, and that is very much who Levi is. And he doesn't really like to talk about himself. He's very interesting guy, and he's our love interest of the story. And I have to say, I would date Levi. I think he's great. I really like him. One thing I also really love, let's go on to a different character, is Art. I love the way his character is built. His character arc is very, very interesting. Art is Catherine Wren's dad. Now, their mum had walked out on them when they were 8, and it was that situation where, Kath kind of says that they weren't really, her mum and dad weren't really suitable for each other at all. They they got together. It was meant to, just be sort of a summer thing or whatever, and then they found out that she was pregnant, so they got married, and they were together since then. So they didn't really, in a sense, get together. Well, didn't get married out of what Kath feels is a generic love kind of thing. It was a situation that brought their marriage to be, and it fell apart, and the mum walked out, and it deeply affected Kath. It affected Ren, obviously, but in a completely different way. And Kath felt that she had to look after her dad. She became mum. She made sure the washing up was done. She, that meals and all that lot. She organised all of that. And Art, their dad had, as the book goes on, we learned that he had 3 psychological breakdowns after their mum left, and it's very interesting to read this, to know what he's been through. And every time, like Kath, you have all of these pages in this book of Kath keeps on ringing him and leaving him messages, and you're wondering, why is she being so persistent? I know she loves her dad and everything, and he's alone in the house now, but it's like, why is she being this way? And then you realise, as the book goes on, you read about what happened after their mum left, that there is proper concern there about him. And with Art, I love the fact that he recognises that that Kath is very worried about the situation of him being on his own and everything, and she wants to make sure that he's okay, and he kind of steps up and he realises, right, I've got to do something. I just can't keep going on the way I've been going, because now that they're gone, I can't hide. There's no one there to hide behind, as it were. So the way that he steps up and gets himself sorted out is really very interesting to read. And I like that knowledge that Art, he's okay for now. It sounds like he's in a much better place than he was even a few months before, in the beginning of the book. He's much better than he was like a year before the book or whatever. But it's possible that one day he could have another breakdown, but at the moment he's doing good, and he's stepped up, and he's being the dad that he needs to be for his girls, and I love him for that. I think he's great. And the last character that we've got in our main kind of mix, as it were, is Nick. Now, Nick, there's something about Nick, and I don't know what it is, where even though he's what you could say, villain of the piece, because he does some something that isn't that great. He's not a bad guy. He made a wrong decision, a very, very wrong decision. It's kind of he's a very interesting guy. I think it's just that thing that he did it just because he wanted the gratification of his work, but it wasn't his work. I don't see him as a bad guy. I think he just made a bad choice. But I really like him, and how Kath learns from her experience of working with him, how her writing changes, all this lot. I really like that. Just because you've got a bad guy in a story, he doesn't have to be really evil kind of guy. He can just be an ordinary guy who made a wrong choice, because everybody makes choices in life, and some of them aren't great. But yeah, it's really, I like Nick, even though he is our villain of the piece. I kind of like him. So overall, absolutely loved Fangirl. Rereading it was absolutely fabulous. I enjoyed every single second of it. And I really hope so. You know how in The Fault in Our Stars, everybody in the fandom knows that the term okay is really significant. It's their form, the two main characters who fall in love in that book. It's their way of saying I love you, and I'm rooting for you is the equivalent in Fangirl, and I swear I love that. I'm rooting for you. I think that was a line I distinctly remembered from first reading this book, and when as soon as it came up in this reread, I was beaming. I loved it. It's very interesting, Kath and Levi's relationship, the complexities, stuff that happens throughout this book, their ups and downs. And then where they are at the end of it kind of feels like everything is good. That's one other thing. I love the positivity in this book, that it feels so natural. I don't know if I just feel it's more natural than other stories and such, because I recognise Kath straight away from fan fiction and being in fandom and on the internet and all that lot. So therefore I feel more comfortable in that kind of world. So I will love this book more and everything. But I don't think that's the case. I think anybody can pick up this book and it feels brilliant. It feels natural. You feel like you're I remember being at university and having all of these various new situations coming up that I'd never experienced before, and I felt just like Kath did. This is Kath is kind of like me, in the book. I absolutely love her. I love this book. I think it is brilliant. I would recommend it to anyone in any fandom whatsoever. Even if you're not in a fandom, I recommend this book because I absolutely love it. I think it's wonderful, well written, well paced, well constructed, brilliant characters, brilliant narrative, brilliant. I can't think of what the word is. I've lost the word I was going to say. It's just falling out of my head. But I love what this story is about. It's friendship and love and learning new things and understanding who you are, and that is okay. Not knowing what you want to do, where you want to go, even at the end of the story, after a first year of school is over, not knowing post that what you want to do. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Just take each day as it comes and love every second. And that's, what I learned from Fangirl. And I will read this over and over and over again. I absolutely adored it. Right, I'm going to stop there because I've been rambling on for, 17 minutes now. Oh, gosh. But yeah, as you can guess, I will say, love this book, and I would recommend it for anyone. It's absolutely wonderful. Sorry, I'm going to stop there. And as usual, I'm going to do another video to announce what the next book is going to be for my challenge, and I will be back soon. And yeah, see you later. Bye.